Distinguished President of the All Boys Association, Mr. Manoj Surendran, Father Principal, Father Devasi Paul, Father Manipadam, our MLA Shabarinath Karthikeyan, the hero of the evening Santosh Shivan, distinguished revered Reverend Fathers, teachers, and old boys. I bring to you the greetings of an alumnus of Loyola. Very proudly, he happens to be my son. Professor Sreenivasan, after having served as a professor in the Columbia University for 21 years, today heads the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. One of the problems of the Foreign Service is how to educate your children. With transfers every 3 years from one corner of the globe to the other, new language, new doctor, new dentist, new cook, new home, new car, every 3 years. Of course, the human body can cope with much of this. But one of the concerns that we had was that how would you educate your children? And my son actually did about 8 schools in his first 12 years. But if you ask him today as to which school he remembers most, he will say the Loyola School. And if you ask him which teacher do you remember most, he will say Father Manipadam. So this is an excitement moment for my wife and myself to be invited to the old boys meet of the Loyola School. I'm sure my son will be happy to hear that we have been honored like this by his school, and we are very grateful. Boys remain boys wherever they are, and old boys do not become old. They have the same spirit. And when you go back to your school, that is when the old youth comes back to us. Most old boys associations simply go to their institutions and share their nostalgia and nothing more. But I see that the Loyola Old Boys Association is not simply doing that. They are not being just nostalgic. They are contributing to the society. They are contributing to the school in a very constructive manner. Very few alumni associations do that. One model that I advocate to all alumni associations is what happens at the university in Kochi, the QSAT. Their management school has a very interesting alumni effort. What they do is, all those people who have studied management in QSAT, who are living in Kochi, spend every weekend with the students of management school in QSAT. One day of the week, the faculty doesn't come to the college, and they teach them on the experiences they have had. And wherever I go to alumni associations, I speak about them because what they do is exceptional. But now I shall start speaking about the Loyola alumni also, because you are exactly doing what they are doing, and this is something that everybody should emulate. I don't know what message I can give you today, but I saw on the invitation there was some message of a change, something about encouraging change, something about bringing about change. But I thought that one thing that does not change is change. We cannot control it. We cannot create it. We can either adjust ourselves to change, because the change in life, change in society, change in the world have their own momentum. You know that tonight thousands of diplomats will be spending sleepless night in Paris trying to deal with change. Climate change is a phenomenon that cannot be stopped. Regardless of what we do, it is inevitable that the climate will change. Then what are they trying to do? What they are trying to do is to adapt yourself to the new situation, and also trying to reduce the human element which brings about change. There are two kinds of phenomena on this world. One is natural phenomena, and the other is anthropogenic phenomena, which is caused by human behavior. From time immemorial, we have learned to live with change. There is this fascinating story of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's visit to Washington as President of India. When he landed on the White House lawns, there was very heavy rain and his helicopter could not land. So he had to fly around for several minutes before the president could land on the White House lawns. So President Kennedy walked up to him and said, "Mr. President, I am very sorry for what happened to you. In spite of all the technological advances that we have achieved, we haven't yet learned the science of changing the weather," he said. Because Dr. Radhakrishnan sensed an amount of pride in the man when he talks about science and technology, and then how he is not able to change the weather. So Radhakrishnan looked at President Kennedy and said, "Mr. President, don't worry. Centuries ago, we in India learned how to live with the weather. So it is not that you change weather, no technology can change the weather. But with your kind of concern and the kind of determination, you can deal with any weather." And that has been the tradition that we have. We have dealt with the change. In fact, we look at the world today, the change is rapid. 5 years ago, you did not have the kind of telephones that you are holding in your hands today. And you do not know what kind of telephones you will have in your hands 5 years from now. The latest was that you will have a telephone with a washing machine attached to it. So the rapidity of the change, you simply have to go back and see what were we used to before we reached this stage. And so it is mind-boggling to think what the world would be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that is the biggest challenge of education. What we teach today in our schools or colleges, does that prepare the young generation to deal with the change of the future? India, as you know, will be one of the youngest countries in the world in the next 20 years. There will be 96 million people in India who will be below the age of 35. When the average age in the United States, China, Europe, Japan will be 50, 60 and 70. So India has what is called the demographic dividend, which is that we are going to have the responsibility to provide intellectual input to the rest of the world. But that is a challenge. It is an opportunity, but also a challenge, because how will we be able to deal with the changes in the world and deal with it, or enable the world to deal with the change, unless we equip them with the kind of education that will make them capable of meeting these challenges? And that is where we need to change our education system. Of course, those of you who have studied in Loyola are fortunate because you have a first-rate school. Many others are not so fortunate. I studied in a village school without any of the opportunities that you probably got in Loyola. So it is not enough that we have good schools in our country. We need to have consistency of school education in the whole society, in the whole community. And that is the challenge we are facing. So those of you who have been fortunate enough to study in a Jesuit school, which is a synonym for quality, discipline, integrity, honesty, you have to take the lead to share your experiences with the younger generation and people who are less fortunate than you are. And so change is inevitable. Dealing with change is important. And to deal with change, you need an education which will enable you to deal with it. I'm very happy that you have begun this new system by which you are going to pick out your old boys who have done extremely well and honor them. This is a very exciting thing that you are doing. Because many of you have reached various stages in your life. Each one has accomplished something. There is nobody who has not accomplished anything. But even among them, there are some exceptional people. To recognize those exceptional people, to bring them out and recognize them, and honor them and share your joy about their achievements, is something which is most commendable. And therefore, I'm very happy that I'm here on the day you begin this. And everybody knows Santosh Sivan very well. I remember his father many years ago when I was a student here. And we have been hearing about him afterwards, although I have never met him. But you don't have to meet filmmakers. They are in our living rooms all the time, whether we invite them or not. But Santosh Sivan is known for innovation in the film industry, as far as I understand it. He has not fallen into the normal trap of commercial cinema. He has been successful in commercial cinema also, I know. But he has brought into the film industry something unique, something innovative, something very creative. And that is why the nation has honored him and we are honoring him today. So let me add my own congratulations to you and congratulate all of you for doing this to identify the great sparks in you, among you, and to honor them. So with these words, may I say how grateful we are, my wife and myself, for having invited us today here, because as I said, as the proud parents of one of your alumni, we are very pleased to be here today and we are grateful. Thank you very much.